start of the season? Did you expect to be doing a prelim press conference?
It's amazing, isn't it? I think obviously heaps of growth from last year into now, and yeah, we're very pleased to be playing footy at the pointy end of the year and to be in the final 4 teams in this comp.
So that's a no?
I think would have been pretty lofty expectations to be going for this, but I do think our group hasn't put a ceiling on what we're doing here, so it's allowed us to be in this position, so we'll keep rolling.
What's pleased you most?
I think the maturity and the versatility amongst our group. You would have seen at 3/4 time against Hawthorn when we were 22 points down, we were able to throw a few players around and move some things that we probably haven't even done throughout the year. So I think just the maturity of the group to face all sorts of different challenges that we've had this year and to do it in an enormous moment in a semi-final and then execute what we did in the last quarter is a big indicator of the maturity in our group now.
It feels like you guys have completely changed since you last played North Melbourne. I guess what's changed in that time?
Yeah, we have grown up a fair bit since what I would call round 4. I think North have been an incredible team all year and they got the jump on us significantly in that first quarter in particular, and then the weather hit enormously at Whitten Oval that Friday arvo. So yeah, I think the maturity has been a bit of a process for us this year, and certainly we weren't anywhere near where we are now in round 4.
How hard is it for the girls to not think about the prizes at the end of the line on Saturday?
No, our group, as I said, like the major growth has been maturity, and so our group is honestly just waiting to play this game on Saturday afternoon.
What do you say? You mentioned that incredible comeback. What do you say to a group to motivate them to do what's never been done in that AFLW before?
I wouldn't say any motivation's required at all in our team. It's all about what's the process, and I think just reinforcement for what we've been doing over the last almost 3 years now is, well, it's been 2 calendar years, almost 3 seasons. Really just ask them, I said to them, we've got to kick 4 goals here to win. And I said, do you think we can do it? And they all lifted their eyes and said, yeah, we can, and off they went. So there's not any motivation required, just a little bit of process around how we needed to do that, and the players executed it so well.
What did you learn from that first time you played North to, this weekend? Do you look at it all this week, or is it fresh slate?
No, we absolutely revisit what happened in round 4, and I think a lot of the tougher lessons we got in that game and the game prior against Fremantle, like we lost here at Alberton against Freo and kind of got overrun, and yeah, we weren't as mature as the Fremantle experienced bodies in round 3 here, and then to go to North Melbourne and start the game really poorly, I think has triggered a lot of growth in our group this year. And so yeah, a lot of it is around how can we manage starts of games better, which typically we've done a lot better since. But then also there's been a lot of learning even in that second half where we felt like we were going pretty well. The score didn't get put on the board and felt like a bit of a hurricane at Whitten Oval at the time. The weather was horrendous. But we did feel like our processes and the method we needed to go about our game was there in that second half. And so, yeah, there's a few mechanics to the game that help. And certainly our confidence in our fitness and our ability to get contest to contest has significantly improved.
It's another away game. Obviously, you'd love to be here, but the fact that you sort of did it all last week, can you sort of replicate that schedule? Like, is there a bit more familiarity heading into this week?
We travel, I guess you say, every second week, being a non-Victorian team, so there's familiarity in everything we do. I think we really enjoy the travel, to be honest, and it's interesting for non-Victorian teams to have to travel. I think it did benefit us having Richmond at home in that first week. They don't have to travel a lot. I think I looked at their schedule and they'd been to Darwin a couple of weeks prior to coming here, but prior to that they hadn't travelled since round 3. And so for us, every second week, our group loves being around each other, and it's actually a really enjoyable time, and they do it well.
Also unbeaten, you just said before that perhaps you didn't expect to be here. Is there more pressure on them this week?
I think for North, they've clearly shown that they're the best team in the comp till this point. I think it will work in our favour that we've played higher pressure games, particularly since we went up to the Gold Coast. And the measures around that we get during the game and post-game around pressure factor, which we value. North have been number 1 in the comp for most of the year, and we've just grabbed it. So we've kind of been 1 and 2 all year in pressure factor, and contest is huge too. So those 2 things, those 2 measures in particular when it comes to finals are big. And knowing that both teams are 1 and 2 in the comp all year, I think it does help us that we've had some high pressure games leading up to, and playing last week in the heat as well at the same venue I think will be helpful for us.
Does it help going into this weekend again, I guess, being the underdogs and not having necessarily that kind of pressure on you, that you can go in and I guess play free football, play the way that you want to play without, I guess, those expectations on your shoulders?
I think our group plays free football either way. So, you know, I think the experience of having our crowd here and the expectation that comes with playing for Port Adelaide is there every week anyway. And so that suits our group and sets us up well to be playing finals.
The girls obviously haven't been in this position before at the club, but the men have several times, and you were part of the men's program for a part last year. Have you had any advice from Ken or any of the other coaches about finals and going through the, being in this position?
It's funny, obviously finishing our season now a bit deeper into the AFLW calendar, and now our AFL men's group are returning. It's honestly just been a really nice vibe to be around the guys as they return to work. And yeah, Ken and all the men's coaches have honestly just been so excited for us, and so that's been really enjoyable to be here during the week and have them back from their breaks and just enjoy the process.
Just a bit of growth from a lot of players this season. What have you seen from Julia Teagle in terms of her maturity and development over the past 12 months?
I think Julia Teagle's main growth came out of our first season, and we saw a lot of it last year. And Teeks is a very mature 21-year-old and is very, very diligent, which I've said a lot before. And I think the biggest tick for Julia is, she had a month out with her injury, and there was no hesitation in selecting her in our best 21, and she comes out against Richmond and performs in the way that she has. She's an integral part of our forward line and really helps our group structure up when the ball's not necessarily in our area. So, yeah, really pleased with her development so far.
I think you said on the eve of the finals that maybe you're being a bit underestimated. Do you feel the league's stood up and taken notice of what Adelaide's all about now?
It's been really fun to see our players and our program noticed, I guess, throughout the competition. But again, to be in the final four of the comp at this point of the year is a lot of feedback for us, and it's exciting for our players to get some of the recognition that they've been working hard for, and also I think signs of hopefully what's to come into the future as well.
How much do you embrace the fun that the group seems to take, like pre-game and TikTok is just full of Matilda running around with a camera. Like, how much do you let the group do that, and does that fun then translate on into their football?
Yeah, I don't have TikTok, so I haven't even seen that, to be honest. Look, I think having played W and been in programs that actually are, to be honest, in pre-game in the rooms, the teams I played for are far more wild than the group I'm coaching now. So, you do let them do what they do and make sure the processes are in place to perform, and I think our group's showing that they've got the balance pretty right now.
How do you think the North Melbourne players are feeling right now? Obviously, you guys seem to have always found a way to get the job done, no matter where, I guess, you are at three-quarter time. If you're behind, you find a way to get there. I think they're feeling a bit nervous coming up against you.
I think watching how North go about it, they're likely similar to us and just worry about themselves. I think they should have enormous confidence in what they've done all year, and even last year, to be fair to them, they've got huge experience and a wonderful group of players behind them, and I really admire the way they play their footy. So, yeah, I'd expect them to have as much confidence as least as we do.
Can they be beaten this year?
Absolutely. I think any team can be beaten on any day, and, if you need proof of that, you look back less than a week ago and go back to three-quarter time.